there something over there you're spraying?
Yeah.
Like,
All right, let's go. Call to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty.
Board President advised members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized. During new business, the chairperson will limit discussions of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order for the board to expeditiously conduct its business. Superintendent's report to the board. Board President advised members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized. During new business, the chairperson will limit discussions of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order. Business Superintendent's report to the board. Board President advised members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Z. Thank you, Mr. Conlon. Ladies and gentlemen, just two items tonight. First and foremost, we'll address where we're headed with instruction. And I do ask the letters we've been sending home on Monday and Friday, I ask that people continue to read them because there is information in there. On Friday's letter, we discussed how we are now starting to look at what we've been doing during the pandemic in terms of instruction. We know there are some things that we are pleased with, and there are some things we need to work on. We are beginning to look towards next year. As I said in the letter, we are going to be part of the regional BOCES group that both will talk about closing schools, distance learning for next year, and opening schools in September. Along those lines, once I get the parameters of that group, I will be reaching out to the community to set up some times where the community can call in and offer suggestions, and we can have discussion about it because the folks at BOCES want input from all the stakeholders to report back to the state. The overall goal is to look at what we're doing now and find out how we can begin to reopen schools in September. We understand that we do not have a crystal ball. We are not looking to make predictions, and we are taking, we're going to take this one step at a time. But a big part of taking it one step at a time is listening to our constituents, the parents, the kids, our faculty and staff, to get input on how they feel and what they're comfortable with. And ultimately, we will find a way to reopen the schools in a safe manner. I would like to now point my attention to the class of 2020. Our senior class has been, a wonderful class for their almost 13 years with us. Unfortunately, their senior year was ripped away from them at the end. But I commend them for being patient, hanging together. We are going to begin some celebrations in June, but I would ask that they mark their calendar for June 19th because Mr. Bernard has put together a committee, and I think we're going to have a nice, and I'm going to stress this, socially safe celebration. I know you see certain things on the news that honestly make me cringe because they're not being, they're not social distancing, they're not wearing masks. I'm not here to be critical of other places, but we will have some smaller celebrations earlier in June with some of the special groups. But we are going to have, I think, a nice culminating celebration, which you'll learn more about as time goes on, but it will culminate with a photo op for you. And then on June 25th, we've set it. That's your graduation date. Right now it's going to be in smaller groups, and students will be walked into the graduation by their parents. You know, look, things can change, and all I can say is the more we adhere to social distancing, the more we follow the rules, especially over, you know, the holiday coming up, and well, every day. I think it would be nice if we have a nice big culminating event on June 19th and a graduation on June 25th. We'll keep you posted. We will have backups in place in case the world situation or the state situation changes in terms of virtual things. But we would like to have a nice celebration on the 19th and a nice intimate graduation on the 20th. So I'll turn it back over to Mr. Coughlin now.
Since there are no public comments.
Just make sure you tell Joanne that
Oh, that's right. Joanne?
Yes.
Chris, Nicole, and Phil are on teleconference. Just so you know.
Okay, got it.
Okay. I guess we don't have any public
Thank you.
comments. Certified personnel. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves of resignations, terminations, leaves of absence, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with the applicable provisions of education law and civil service law as cited in the certified personnel attachments. Get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. The speech teacher it is? What's the difference between this?
I have a question.
Okay.
Any material attend that vote is in front of me.
Okay. What's the difference between a pathologist and a teacher? Because wasn't she in the building already?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Exactly. Like she was with us all last year? I mean,
She
this
was a
person.
leave replacement,
Oh, I got it, okay.
and
All right.
we did interviews, we posted for it, advertised, and did the interviews, and she came out on top.
Okay, so she was
She
leave
was-
replacement
She was
this
leave
past year.
replacement, yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Non-certified personnel, Joanne, Phil had to abstain. All right.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
Non-certified personnel, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves of resignation, terminations, leaves of absence, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education law and civil service law as cited in the non-certified personnel attachments. Get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Consent agenda, can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda? 9.1 through 9.4.
Motion.
Second.
Consent agenda passes. 9.5, appropriation changes. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Hold on a second, I lost my spot. The Board of Education approved the attached list of appropriation changes. Get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Is this gonna cover the entire amount for the mailing for the ballot, Steve, or do you think this is just a drop in the bucket?
There are funds in the code to begin with for our normal mailings.
Okay,
This will help. It may not cover us totally, but it gets us close.
okay. Are we outsourcing the mailing or are we doing it internally?
That's the printing and, yes, it's being outsourced.
Okay. And then lastly, I guess this would be for Mr. Dolan. Are we gonna hire additional election people? It was in the board, the on-board newsletter that they suggest the day before the election deadline and the day of the election deadline, you have more than just the district clerk and support staff here. So are we gonna have that support?
Yeah, Joanne is working with Marie on that, so.
Okay,
We plan on having sufficient people to count. They were actually in here the other day practicing opening the ballot to see how long it would take. So they're gonna.
and then we have money in the codes for extra salary for that, because we already budgeted for an in-person election, right?
Yes.
So we would probably have a surplus on that line if we don't need all those workers?
Well, I know they were talking about 20-plus election workers, so we could end up with surplus now, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Steve.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, everyone's favorite portion of the meeting, from a long way away, old business. Anybody have any old business? Bill, nothing?
Yes. Yes, under old business, I want to know if the aftercare program from Scope is still going on. How many kids do we have there at the present time?
We have approximately 4.
Did you hear him, Phil?
I'm sorry, how many? 4?
Yes,
I didn't hear him.
Yes, 4.
yes, 4.
We have 4 there going all week, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's just the old business. Thank you.
Anyone else with any old business? New business? No new business.
Under new business, I have a question. New business, I have a question about the ECC building. Is it being opened for childcare?
We opened, Emery's been declared essential. We opened today. Very small numbers, but beginning the process of reopening.
Okay, so she has reopened her business. Has anybody checked to make sure that she has met the standards that the state is setting with the face mask and everything?
Spoke to her yesterday, spoke to her this morning. She's in compliance, and just like any other workers, they have the responsibility of being in compliance.
Okay, thank you. And also, I'd like to know the update on the roofs and the solar panels. How are we doing with the roofs and the solar panels?
The solar project's approximately 90% complete. All of the panels that were gonna be in JFK are on the high school and middle school roof with some additional panels. The ECC roof is complete, except for the standing seam part. The RCK roof is complete, except for the standing seam part. Timber point should be done in the next 2 days, and then we'll move on to RCK. We were originally supposed to start these projects July 1st. That's why we won't get the standing seam metal. It may come in before they finish RCK. If not, they'll come back and finish the standing seam roofs as soon as the metal comes in. It should be in before July 1st.
I also have a question. How is the security doors and everything for the one of the school buildings? Are they all in now?
They're working on the high school now. The other schools are mostly complete. We're waiting for the cameras and some finishing work. But again, those jobs are, the high school is 75% complete. The rest of them are need finishing touches. And they are waiting for the cameras. The camera system is, wires are being run as we speak. I think the best thing to say is the bond, we're about $1 million under budget, and we're about 6 months ahead of schedule where we thought we would be.
If I can ask, about the bond work, the solar project, I felt like every update we had, it was all about the change orders. So are we not getting getting advice for change orders because they're below that threshold for our work, or are they just not happening because everything's going according to plan?
With bond,
Yeah, the bond work.
we've had a few change orders that were brought to your attention, but
That's it though.
the bond, I don't even want to jinx it. We're 6 months ahead of schedule and we're $1 million under budget, and we seem to be moving along well. So we're not, the locker rooms are gutted, the music suite is being gutted. You know, the work is proceeding, the bathroom bids are, I think the bathroom bids, when do we open them?
Well, it's supposed to be Thursday, but we're going to be extended.
Yeah, we're extending the bathroom bids because I guess, you know, with all that's going on, but, knock on wood, we're trying to stick to where we started, you know, stick to the plan we started with.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other new business? Phil, anything else? All right, we'll move on to public comments. Do we have any questions? No questions tonight. All right, so I make a motion that we move to exec.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, you can shut that off, Rich.
Are we back in exec?
Not yet?